Coming up on this edition of NFL Daily here at Chat Sports, we will talk the James Cook latest and how the Kyren Williams deal might impact that, the Micah Parsons trade request, and the Colts' ongoing quarterback battle. In the month of August, these are the most likes on the Chat Sports channel here, which it's August. It's kind of a slower ramp up for that side of it. 118 is the most this month. 435 is the most of any video in any month of August here at Chat Sports. Let's change that. Let's beat that 435 number today. Please and thank you, like today's video. Let's head north to Buffalo, relative to where we are. James, like location-wise, James Cook appears to be to change his plans, and maybe not even appears to. It's kind of something he outright has. Moved to a hold-in at Bills training camp. He was asked about this, like, hey, why you holding out? What's the thought process here? His answer repeatedly was business. I'm just here so I don't get fined, essentially, is what James Cook's saying on that front. Brandon Beane, the Bills GM, asked about this, said, it's not something we were fully aware of until shortly before practice. I get it. I understand it. It's the world we're in, I guess, of how the players want to respond to things like that. It's not something we want. It's not something we look forward to. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it sometimes can be the way of the world. So we'll deal with it the best we can, hopefully. I'd love to see Jimbo out there today. Of note, he was not out there today. I don't know that answer at this point this morning, whether that will happen or not, but hopefully if it's not today, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. This was, I think, from Sunday. It is now Tuesday. He is still not practiced yet. Now, James Cook is in a very unique spot with the Buffalo Bills where, he's probably the best skill player on the Bills roster. Like, apologies to Khalil Shakir and, maybe get the breakout year at tight end with Dalton Kincaid, but I think Cook and his efficiency, his big playability, makes him the best running back, best skill player on Buffalo's roster, even if, the workhorse numbers kind of actually aren't there. He only had 207 carries last year. The price tag is also an issue for James Cook. I do think the Kyren Williams extension, 3 years, reportedly $33 million with $23 million guaranteed, should impact James Cook. If I were James Cook, there's no way I'm settling for less than what Kyren Williams got because the market almost always indicates the next guy gets paid a little more, even if those are kind of low guaranteed figures. There had been some buzz that James Cook wanted Saquon or original Saquon or essentially Derrick Henry money. I don't know if he's going to get that. I think he wanted to beat Jonathan Taylor. I don't think that's going to end up happening here. I don't think he quite gets to that figure, but he can get 12 and a half, 13. I think that is kind of a realistic goal for James Cook that maybe is fair enough for both sides. So will James Cook get a new deal with the Buffalo Bills? It's the pinned comment on today's video. Why for yes and for no? Go vote in the comments of today's show. Let's talk Micah Parsons, as I'm sure everyone watching knows, because it would be kind of wild to have missed it unless you were, in a coma. If so, congrats. Welcome back to the world. Micah Parsons has formally submitted a trade request to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, i.e. Jerry Jones, said they would not be granting the request from Micah Parsons. They're not going to do that. Jerry told the fans to not worry, but, it's Jerry. The general vibe around the NFL has been, doubt they trade him, but, you can never say never now. Also, this is such a disaster class by Dallas. I think it was the one NFC East scout told somebody, I think it was Jordan Schultz, that we're laughing at Dallas. How can you not be? The handling has been a complete and utter disaster. We'll go more in depth on this here in just a second. But this NFL hoodie, or for these NFL hoodie styles for your favorite team, are available at chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. They were $55. Now they're just $33. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. You'll have to search or sort by your favorite team. Do make note of that. But it's chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. My mindset as it relates to Mike and the Cowboys, as the Cowboys Report host, which I do always want to acknowledge, it's another bad look for Dallas. Again, you're screwing around and not paying your high-paid player who everyone knows is going to get record-setting money, and you know it deep down too, and you had the secret conversation with him previously, and now you're just kind of in this bad spot. What are you doing? Why? Why are we doing this again? History does tell us, by the way, a trade request actually probably doesn't get the trade. We'll see what happens with Scary Terry. I think he ends up back in Washington. Hendrickson at some point probably gets paid by the Bengals. We'll see if it's what he wants or not, or if they find a middle ground. T. Higgins did not get paid following his trade request, which was originally David Mulgeta with the agent. Myles Garrett, we're probably doing the exact same thing with Micah that we did with Myles Garrett. Like, kind of funny how that one ends up playing out with Garrett getting paid a massive sum, raise the price for Micah, and now Micah kind of repeating the Garrett playbook. As for the trade value of Micah, look, the timing is bad. The Cowboys do not have as many suitors for a bidding war. For example, the Cardinals, the Falcons would have been prime logical trade partners. Well, guess what? They paid or drafted a couple different edges, so they're probably not as interested as they once were. And the trade value package, by the way, look, you're not getting Herschel Walker package. You're not getting it again. You're never going to have a team get a couple picks and then get conditional picks based on cutting a player who they cut. Like, you're not going to get like 3.5 first rounders. It's just not. It's not feasible. The more realistic trade packages here: 2 firsts and a other pick. The Jalen Ramsey trade, doable. Timing not that dissimilar. The Khalil Mack trade, kind of unique. Not quite 2 1s. The Bears had better offers, but they wanted to ship him outside of the NFL or outside of the AFC, so they shipped him to Chicago. Noteworthy. I think like 2 1s and change in some capacity is a realistic, fair ask, which for the Cowboys, and you don't want to trade Micah, you're probably just like, we're not going to do that anyway. Like, we're just going to stick with what we have, and there is no trade package that we would accept, which is how it gets really messy when you also, like, don't call the agent back. Sloppy. So what will the Cowboys do with Micah Parsons? T for trade, P for pay. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Let's go to the Colts quarterback battle, and boy, this is something, man. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, training camp battle going on. Who is the quarterback in Indy? There's a 2-man race: Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Those are the battles that are ongoing. It's that battle at quarterback. The highly drafted pick by Indy, the highly drafted flameout starter in New York, with more experience and just kind of a bad situation overall for the way it ended with Daniel Jones. It's not a great quarterback battle. We'll break this down more in depth, but we are about 648 subs, depending on when you're watching, away from 414,000 subs here on Chat Sports. Help us get there. Hit that sub button right now. Richardson's best asset remains his mobility. He can run. He's got good size. He's got power. He is still an extremely, extremely inconsistent passer. Look, completion percentage is a raw number. Might not always be the best indicator. But if you're under 50%, you are doing something wrong. We don't have to pretend about that. We don't have to try to sit and say, oh, yeah, well, there's some tougher throws. Like, no, you completed under 50% of your passes. Like, let's be realistic here. So Richardson, the upside is there. They drafted him high, but they brought in Daniel Jones and gave him a real chance to compete for the starting job. And I don't think this is over. Jones offers some mobility. You could see a very quarterback run-heavy scheme under Shane Steichen, since Jones and AR have mobility. But it's not exactly the best starting quarterback battle we've ever seen. So who wins the job? AR for Anthony Richardson, DJ for Daniel Jones. Sound off in the comments of today's show. Look, I think there is a good chance both guys at some point start this season. Whether it's injuries, ineffectiveness, would anyone be surprised if the Colts gave both guys a crack at being the starter to save a season or earn the job fully at some point? I would not be. I still think the ideal outcome is Richardson. He was drafted higher. You've invested more in him than a 1-year contract for Daniel Jones. And if he does develop, then you feel really good about that. And your jobs are definitely safe, even with the ownership changeover in Indy. It's still early. Doesn't sound like either guy has really seized control of the job yet, which, isn't necessarily a huge surprise. There's a lot to do. Maybe we'll see a decent amount of them in the preseason this year for Indianapolis.